everyone. Welcome back to the Jen GTM Show. I'm thrilled to kick off the year with Marcy, who's done incredible work scaling alliances and partner marketing at Coralogix. Marcy and I have worked during our AWS days, and I've actually seen firsthand how sharp her operator instincts are. So today, she's bringing that perspective to our audience of SaaS founders and GTM leaders here. So, Marcy, again, Happy New Year. Great to reconnect with you. Thanks for joining us.
Great. Nice to be here. Thanks, Jen.
Thank you. So we're going to keep our conversation light and about 15 to 20 minutes. So we're going to focus on three GTM questions here, designed mainly to give our founders a real look into what a great partner-led execution actually really looks like. So let's jump right in. So Marcy, our first question for you is, you have scaled alliances and partner marketing at CoreLogix through, I would say, various stages of growth, right? You've been there for a long time now. So from where you sit, can you tell us what separates ISVs who actually win with AWS and from those who just participate in the ecosystem?
Yeah, so I've been at Coralogix for almost 5 years. I came in as employee 80. It's now at about 600 people, with over 100 million in revenue. Um, what I would say is you have to realize that as a small ISV, AWS is not going to walk you into everywhere. You have to do the work as an alliance team to help AWS understand the value you're bringing not only to them, their customer, because they're a strategic partner within those customers, right? So they're recommending solutions. You have to understand that, and they're putting their word out as a trusted advisor for you. So I always recommend starting at the beginning. Like, what is the better together story? What is the value to the customer? What is the value to the AWS seller? And doing that work together. And then there are so many programs within AWS. There's no other hyperscaler with partner programs like AWS. So, really making sure that you're utilizing those partner programs and helping your partner team at AWS to be a star because there's so many ISVs. Like, they can't just keep you if you're not working towards their goals with them.
That's wonderful. That's so wonderful. Thank you for that, Marcy. And my second question is, I know back in 2022, when you and I worked together during the AWS days, I have seen you how well you understood, the AWS motion itself, right? So what do the GTM teams consistently get wrong about working with AWS, and what do the best teams get right early on?
Yeah, I think you have to understand that you have to do the hygiene, right? I always say it's about hygiene with anything you do, right? If you're selling, you have medic, right? If you're working with AWS, it's along the same lines, right? You have to register your deals, right? But don't
Amazing.
just upload a bunch of leads. So
Yeah.
make sure you make that investment and educate your team on how to register deals, whether you're doing it through a third party, whether you're doing it through an ACE connector, right? And then have a playbook for a co-sell meeting. I can tell you my first day at Coralogix, I came in and my AE said, I don't know why I'm here, to an AWS seller. And I was like, this is not going to work, right? So we put together a playbook, trained the sales team within the medic process of like where the co-sell meeting happens, right? And then we also got executive buy-in from our leadership that you could not bypass the registration. And it really has worked because as the programs have matured and we have matured, there's now stops. Like, you're not gonna fintech or finance team, you're not gonna get your credits if you don't register it, right? Your customer will not get their commit if you go through Marketplace if you do not register it. You will not get your MPOP credits,
Oh,
right?
God.
So this base of what we did at the beginning, we're making it part of the sales process and educating our sellers and our executive team really became valuable for us so that it's not like such a heavy lift when a new guardrail is put almost in place within the AWS programs. And AWS is a business, it changes every year, right? So you have to be ready for the change, but if you have that foundation of like, okay, our sales team understands the co-sell motion and what they're getting out of it. I have AEs now that don't even have to cold call. They go to AWS and they get their next deal.
That's right. That's right. Oh my God. All the things what you said, it it gives me like goosebumps right now. I remember when you, me, and Pierre were sitting in the room and kind of whiteboarding everything,
Yes.
right? So thank you for sharing that, Marcy. That's so true. Exact action you touched on, it's so important. Medpic you touched on. Again, thank you for that. So again, looking ahead to 2026, right? So my last question to you is, where do you see the biggest opportunities for ISVs to really differentiate through the partner-led GTM, whether that's marketplace or co-sell or ecosystem-driven demand?
Yeah, I think, Bedrock creates some like amazing opportunities, right? So that's where you're going to differentiate yourself as an ISV, I think. So if you're part of the Gen AI programs, right, you're getting more funding, you're getting more resources, all of that. It always, in my opinion, comes back to your marketplace number, right? So if you have your base of co-selling in place and you're able to accelerate your deals quicker and all of that and utilize marketplace as your transactional vehicle and give them credits and all of that, you have happy customers, right? And those become stickier customers. You can do, upsells quicker, cross sells better, all of those things. And the procurement process is a lot simpler. And I think, partners, as these SIs build out these practices within the AWS ecosystem with Gen AI think that probably for 26 is where we'll focus a lot of our time.
Awesome, awesome. So, I have one follow-up question to that, Marcy. So, if you were advising a founder today, where would you tell them to double down on?
Yeah. I see a lot of people do things, right? And have, teams come in and advise them. I think it's the enforcement of the policies, right? For founders. Like if you're going to make the investment, you're going to build on AWS and you're an ISV, why not take full advantage of building your business following this path? I mean, if you look at a Wiz, you look at all of these companies that have succeeded their numbers the way they have, they were all partnering with AWS, right? So I think it's part of your like foundational model of how you go to market, right? And the enforcement of it, because everyone tries to, make it quicker, jump around, skip the co-sell meeting, right? And you're not only creating champions within your customers, but you're creating them within your partners.
Awesome, awesome. That's fantastic. Again, thank you so much, Marcy. This has been fantastic. Thank you for sharing such practical insights, I would say. And I know our audience will take a lot from this. And I'm really excited to see how CoreLogic continues to scale in the ecosystem. I'm truly grateful for you joining us today. And that's it for this episode of the Gen GTM show. Thanks for listening in, and we will see you next time.